As we gather here today, and this is a historic moment in the life of our mission, because today, as we start these workshops just before the 16th International Human Unity Conference, we have brothers and sisters here from many different parts of the world. And as all of us gather here, we find that many of us here are those brothers and sisters who've maybe come here for the first time. Many of us have been on the path for a very short time, and there are many other brothers and sisters who've been on the path for many years. And so as we all gather here from different parts of the world, this is a moment in which to try to understand why we are here. And so this program for the next few days was designed so that we could all gain from being here. Our foremost purpose of being here is to gain spiritually. Is to be spiritually fulfilled, is to be able to enhance in our spiritual journey. That's why all of us have come here. That's why we've been initiated in the mysteries of the beyond, because we've been searching. And after carefully searching, we found the path of Sant-Mat. Now, it is very important that we get a clear understanding of what is this path. What is Sant-Mat and what are the basic teachings as is practiced in different parts of the world? The understanding of what the path is different for each and every one of us. So we thought it would be good to be able to consolidate what our understanding is and get to the truth as quickly as possible, so that our understanding be clear and we be able to make the best of our being involved with the path of Sant-Mat. Now, the next few days will be spent in an interactive manner, because as we start to learn something, we find there's always resistance to change. We're all brought up in a manner and we feel very comfortable with whatever we do in life. So as we are living our lives, we rarely want to change. And any change that comes in our life needs to be clearly understood by us that it is going to be better for us. And so as we look at the techniques by which we learn, we find that those techniques have changed over the years. Gone are the days when people would only learn through a one-way process. Today, it is felt all over the world that one learns by doing something, by being actively involved, by being able to give input into the process so that we can learn more of whatever we are learning. So these workshops have been designed so that they'll be interactive, so that all of you will have opportunities to put in your points of views. And so the process which would be told to you would be where you'll be breaking up in small groups and focusing on how to better your own personal life by growing spiritually. So the first day today is focused on the basics of the teachings, and from what I have here, it's like basics of the teachings, the review and deepening of understanding Sant-mat. To understand the teachings and to be able to put them into practice is only possible when we live the teachings. So for us to live in a loving world, in a peaceful world, in a spiritually charged world, we first need to transform ourselves so that we ourselves are loving, we ourselves are at peace, and we ourselves have grown spiritually. So to have any effect in the world in which we live, what is very important is that we first be transformed ourselves. So the topics for today are how does one transform oneself following the teachings of Sant-mat. How does growth come to us? What is our understanding of Sant-mat? And I'm sure that by the end of the day, you'll have a clear understanding or a better understanding than what you had before. So as we all gather here, it is important that those of us who've been on the path a long time, who have our own understandings on the path, be able to look at ourselves and see if our cup is full. If we think our cup is full, then let us just write down whatever we know about Sant-mat, put it in an envelope and close it and forget it. And start anew so that we all can learn from this process. If we are new here, then let us be receptive, let us be open to understand what would be very, very helpful for the rest of our existence. And so as we start this workshop, it is very important that we look at ourselves and not consider ourselves to be totally full. Because if we feel like that, we will never gain anything. And the purpose of us being here is to gain. Is to gain at all levels. So that when we go back to our own countries, our understanding of the path would be much better than what it was when we came here. And so what is important is to be able to attend these programs with a sincere effort to grow on our part, to learn and to adapt and to change, so that we on our journey to spiritual fulfillment. Now when we look at Sant-mat, there are certain activities that we are all involved in which are very, very helpful. First of all, what is most important is meditation, that we be able to meditate. Now, at the time of our holy initiation, we are taught the two techniques of meditation. Meditation on the divine light of God, meditation on the divine sound of God. And along with that, we are given our Simran, which is the repetition of the 5 holy names of God. And so, to meditate correctly is very, very important. Many of you who've come to the fold of Sant-Mat have tried many other techniques, many other ways. And so we want it to be very clear that you don't mix any other techniques with the technique of meditation on the divine light and sound of God. Because if you mix techniques, you won't get the results. So to practice correctly, I feel is very important. There are techniques, be correct. I travel all around the globe and I have many opportunities to meet many brothers and sisters who've been on the path a long time. And the kind of questions that I get tell me that many people who've been on the path a long time also are not sometimes very clear about the correct way of meditation. So to me, it seems very important that one of the things to focus on in this workshop would be to try to understand what is the correct way to meditate. It's a very simple technique. The great masters of this century, Hazur Baba Sawan Singh Ji Maharaj, Param Sant Kripal Singh Ji Maharaj, and the gracious master Sandarshan Singh Ji Maharaj, have made it very simple. But still, we have problems. And so it's good that we know and practice properly the true way in which to meditate. So meditation is at the heart of Sant-Mat, and this is why the great saints have said, let us meditate for 2.5 hours daily. Now, as you talk about meditation, many other aspects will come forth, and so you can all discuss them and you'll get to the right results. Another key area, I think, of Sant-Mat is to lead a life of ethical virtues. Through the grace of Sant Kripal Singh Ji Maharaj, we've been given the introspection diary. And it is through the diary that we track how our life is progressing in the arena of inculcating the ethical virtues. Now, we all know that we're supposed to keep the diary. But how many of us really do keep the diary? And how many of us who do keep the diary keep it properly so that the best use of the diary can be made? Now, what is important to understand is, if we spend time in meditation, and the rest of the time that we spend on a daily basis goes in turmoil, goes in areas where we have strife, goes in times of stress, then we won't be able to meditate properly. So a life which is truthful, a life of non-violence, a life of love, a life of humility, a life of chastity, of purity, and a life of selfless service helps us as we meditate. And so these are not steps that you take one after another. These are all collectively going to help us. And so as we inculcate the ethical virtues in our life, we will find that our meditations would get better and better and better. And so it's very important that we be able to lead a life in which our attention is focused on the virtues, because as we go forward, that will definitely help us. Now, how do we put that into practice is what all of you would be discussing today. The diary is a great tool by which we can gauge our progress. If we don't gauge our progress, then all of us think we are doing the right things. But if we force ourselves to look at what is it that we are doing, how are we really behaving, are we forcing ourselves to be happy, or is depression overtaking us? Are we leading a life of peace and calm, or are we letting turmoil overtake our own existence? And we as a human being have input into what direction we go. And so as we try to put Sant-Mat into our being, what is important is that we be able to lead a life of love, lead a life of harmony, lead a peaceful life, so that as we meditate, it becomes easier for us to still our mind. The key to meditation is to be able to still your mind. If you can't still your mind, you can't meditate. And the more turmoil you have in your life, the more difficult it is for you to meditate. So I think that's the second area in the teachings of Sant-Mat which is very important. The great masters have always said it, that another area which is very important is to attend satsangs. When we go to a satsang, Master Kripal would often say that 2/3 of spirituality comes to us through the eyes of the Master and 1/3 through the words. So the words are important for our intellect, so we get a better understanding. And as we go to the satsang, many of our questions get answered. You know, those of us who've been on the path for a while know, and I've heard of many experiences, where in one satsang questions of hundreds and thousands of people are answered. And so as we go to a satsang, many of our own questions are answered. So at the level of the intellect, we find it easier for us to understand the teachings. Also, when we are in that spiritually enlightened atmosphere, it gives a boost to our spiritual journey, a boost to our spirit. And thus we start to soar into the regions within easily. We've seen many people at a satsang, going out of the body over the years. And so it helps us spiritually. The spiritual radiance of being in a satsang helps us grow, whether the satsang is conducted by the Master or it is a satsang which has been authorized by the Master and conducted by a group leader representing someone else. And so going to satsangs is very important, and I think that would be one of the key areas to focus upon as to how the satsangs can be made so people benefit more and more from them. So the great saints have always said that attending the satsangs is very helpful to our spiritual growth. Now we all understand that, but how many of us here attend satsangs? I know some of the people who've been on the path a long time would definitely want to get close to the master and go to satsangs where the master is, who very rarely go to the satsangs if they are not physically close to the master. But whether the satsang is being held by the master or someone who the master has authorized, the spiritual charging is there, and so we need to attend the satsangs, make that a part of our existence, make that a part of our life, because it truly, truly helps us in the spiritual journey. You know, in this day and age, there is so much distraction from the world outside that when we go to the satsang on a regular basis, our attention is easily focused on God. And so we need the recharging so that we don't deviate from the path, so that we stay steadfast to reach our goal. And so what is very important, I feel, is this aspect of attending satsang. So through this process, the great saints have made it easy for us to be focused on God. On our own, we can very easily be misled or be caught up in the activities of the world, which at the time seem to be very, very important. Little do we realize that anything that we gain in this materialistic world is going to be left here. Nothing's going to go with us. So what is very important is our spiritual growth. And the more we focus on it, the better off we are going to be. And so that's another key factor, I think, in our understanding of the teachings. I think another area which is very important is to understand to the best of our capability what is the master, who is the master. And I feel there's a big misunderstanding in many, many people. You know, the master is not the physical body that we see with our physical eyes. The master is the power of God which works through that human pole that we generally call the master. It is the power of God which connects us to the divinity within ourselves. And so in our understanding, what is important is to differentiate between the real master, which is the inner master, and the outer master. Now as we meditate, as we get initiated, the radiant form of the physical master, let's say, or the outer master, becomes our inner master, and that is what sits here at the single or the third eye. And that is that radiant form which is to represent the power of God, because we have no other means of knowing what is the power of God, is our true master, and that is what helps us, guide us towards our goal, which is the goal of having a soul merge back in God, the goal of having a soul pass through the inner spiritual regions, rise above physical body consciousness, and be able to merge in the Creator. And so understanding the benefits of meditation, connection with the inner master is very, very important. And as we get to a state where we experience the inner master, as we meditate, then all kinds of guidance that we need to get to our goal are going to be provided to us. When we get to that state, we can talk to the inner master just like we talk to the outer master on the outside. We can ask questions and we'll get guidance. So one thing which is very important is to understand that. Now, to get to that stage, we need help from the outer master. Through the consciousness which is imparted to us at the time of our initiation by the grace of the outer master is how our connection with the power of God starts. Many of us are unable to get to the inner master because that takes time, that takes a life of love, a life of harmony, a life of meditation. And so on the outer level, we find guidance to our mundane and spiritual affairs by the outer master. And so help and guidance is needed to each and every one of us. We might have questions that can be clarified by the physical master or the outer master. And so as we try to understand Sant-Mat, it is important that we know the distinction, because there are many misconceptions about who's the master, what did the master do, how can guidance be given to us, and all these questions. So I'm sure as you explore this area, it will be something by which you learn a lot. And the more you understand about the path of Sant-Mat, the better are you going to be able to put the teachings of Sant-Mat into your own life. And as you understand the various factors that are a part of Sant-Mat, you will find that each one of these is going to help the other. If you have a better understanding of one, it will help you get to a better understanding of the other and more or faster spiritual growth. And so today, as all of you gather here, it is important that you be able to focus on the teachings of Sant-Mat. I've just given you a broad outline of what I feel are some of the key factors of Sant-Mat. And as you have your workshops, you'll be able to focus on other areas that you think would be important. And as this workshop goes for the next few days, there will be other topics: how to live in love, how to live in harmony, how to be able to work in peace and harmony with others in your own area. The third day, I think, is focused on how to spread the teachings in your own areas, and the fourth day is focused on what is the vision of the mission for the new millennium and for times to come. And so as you get opportunities, as you conclude each one of these days, you'll be coming up with results, and we all will have opportunities to focus on what we've learned. The facilitators for this workshop are very experienced, and I'm sure that they have set up a interactive program which all of you would find very helpful as you try to understand the teachings of Sant-Mat at a deeper level. I would also like to say that what is important, first of all, is to understand the teachings. But what is really important is to live them, is to make them a part of our life. If we understand something and we don't use it, it's useless. If you have a dictionary in your home and it's collecting dust, you're never going to gain anything from it. So if you have the knowledge and you don't put it into practice, you are not going to benefit from the knowledge. So what is important is to put into practice the teachings of Sant-Mat in our own life. So we can live them, we can make it a part of our existence. And as we do that, we'll find that our life would be loving, the life of others around us would be harmonious, and our spiritual growth will come in leaps and bounds. And so as we all gather here today, it is my prayer to the great masters of this century, Hazur Baba Sawan Singh Ji Maharaj, Param Sant Kripal Singh Ji Maharaj, and the gracious Master Sandarshan Singh Ji Maharaj, to guide us towards our true goal, to help each and every one of us here understand what is truly right for us, and to shower so much of their grace that we all grow spiritually and have our soul merge in the Creator in this very lifetime. Thank you very much.